law enforcement agents connive with politicians. You ask yourself, every time we hear that thousands and thousands of policemen will be sent to provide security, especially during off-season elections. Apart from the police, we will send naval officers, we will send Air Force men, we will send civil defense, we will send all
road
security.
safety.
Yes, road safety too.
Army,
Yes,
everybody.
everybody, Nigerian army. Yet, these political talks still get away with ballot box snatching on election day. There's hardly any election that we can conduct where you won't hear stories of ballot box snatching and general vote rigging. It is impossible to get away with ballot box snatching without the connivance of security agents, because sometimes they just look away. It depends on who is committing the offense. Sometimes they just look away. So if we really want to deepen our democracy, make our elections more and more credible, all of these electoral vices have to be removed from our political culture. We can't have a situation in which countries that Nigeria provided brotherly care for, the frontline nations of Southern Africa, today they are conducting free, fair, and credible elections. Nigeria, a country that provided not just shelter for some of their leaders, but even financed the freedom struggle in those countries. Today, we can't do election without the possibility of vote rigging. It says a lot about how far we have gone. And I don't, when people keep saying, oh, America didn't just get there in one day, Rome was not built in a day. Look, how long are we going to build our own Rome? How long is it going to take us to build our own Rome? After all these years, after almost 30 years, we should be able to conduct free, fair, and credible elections. Ugly will always happen in elections because even the INEC rule book says where election is characterized by violence, they should cancel the ballots recorded in those places should be cancelled. Political opponents now use that to make life difficult for their rivals. They go to deliberately cause trouble in those places, knowing that the ballots will be cancelled. You go to the stronghold of your opponent and deliberately cause problems there. I remember in 2015, in Southern Kaduna, so many ballots were wasted. So many ballots were wasted because votes were not returned from a lot of polling centers where violence took place. I mean, there's no reason for our elections to be characterized by violence. It is because some people made up their minds to instigate violence so that it will be difficult for the opponent to win. Because if people target your stronghold and make life unbearable for voters in your stronghold, how are you going to win? They know that the law says that, oh, ballots should not be recorded from those places. So these things are deliberately contrived as part of the rigging module of some of our politicians. Politicians forge INEC's forms. INEC has increasingly been putting a lot of security features on their forms. The form EC8A, on which results are entered. Politicians will go and forge it. Go to collation centers, bribe electoral officers, and substitute the real result with the one that they sat down in their houses and filled. So that's why a lot of people felt, look, this idea of having electronic transmission of results is desirable because you and I voted at the same polling center. The result is snapped and then transmitted electronically. That way, the fear of INEC staff being hijacked on the way to the local government or state collation centers and have their results substituted will not happen. Everybody will have it. You saw we used it in Ondo, we used it in Edo, and it worked fine. The bulk of the rigging these days, the bulk of the rigging takes place between polling centers and collation centers.
After the vote.
After the vote. Well, you and I will have voted, we'll be happy, we'll go home, we'll think that we have the result. Well, when they're announcing the result, it will be straight to you that, is it the same election that... so this is the thing. As INEC is perfecting or bringing innovations to make our elections more credible, some undesirable elements are also devising means. For example, if we had the electronic accreditation of voters through the card reader, I can tell you that from 2015 when it was introduced, the rate of the use of the card reader has been going steadily down. In 2015, it was around 56%. We had in 2019, it came down to about 20%.
I think 19%.
19, I think, yes, now I'm not so sure. And the off-season elections that we had in December 2020, they were also in the same range, around 20%, from 55, 56.
In 2015.
In 2015. And the INEC rule book says where they fail to use the card reader, cancel election. But even INEC staff themselves, the so-called RECs at INEC, they are unable to fully implement what the INEC rule book says for reasons best known to them.